We got to talk about Witcher Season 1. Yes.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Fantastic show. I got to say, watching this show, they did...
Watching this show, I might be in love with Henry Cavill.
I am in love with him. I was like, we have Superman.
Shit.
I got Superman. Oh, The Witcher. Yennefer. Yes. I love that.
Also Yennefer.
She was fantastic.
God. I was okay with her with the humpback.
What?
I thought she looked good then.
No.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw when they did the whole transition, I was like, that's makeup, people. That's what happens.
Holy shit.
I love the way they told the story here. Because, as you're watching, you're trying to figure out what's happening when.
Yes.
Like, this happened in the past. This is in the future. This is in the present.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah.
I didn't figure it out until way later.
I figured it out.
I was so confused, and then it all made sense.
I figured it out when he was in the fighting that evil monster in the house.
The girl?
The girl.
Who was like the demon?
Yes. I figured everything out there.
I didn't. I figured it out when he took the bard to the party. Because
that was when it was obvious.
That was when it was obvious, but that's when I figured it out. Like, I was like, where are we? What's going on? Like, what time period?
Because I remember, I was like, wait a minute. I think this happens at different time. Because I was watching with Heather, and we were both like, we were like, wait a minute. Something's not adding up here.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so this had to have happened. We were on the beginning, and we pretty much had it figured. That confirmed it. When I saw the scene of those two kids. Yeah. I think it was in that episode. Back in Yennefer's time. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, so Witcher's in the present. Yennefer happened in the way past. Something else is in the future. I had them flipped. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow, this is crazy. But they've confirmed, if you didn't like that, I understand, because it was a little confusing until they got to that part. I liked it
because, to me, the revelation was the key.
It was.
Right? Like, when you're like, oh, this is going on in the past, and now it's connecting. Like, to me, everything's.
And Yennefer's like almost immortal. She's lived through the whole time.
Yeah, well, she's also a witch.
Yes, so is the Witcher. Yeah. He's like alive for a lot. Yeah. But if you didn't like that, don't worry. Season 2 is going to be more linear. Yeah. So don't worry about that. It's going to be straightforward because now all the loose ends have been caught up with each other.
Well, I also don't think too many people are worried about it because it's huge. Like, it became the most in-demand streaming show. It was like fantastic. Almost immediately after episode 8 of Mandalorian came out, right? It was like, people were like, all right, watch Mandalorian, and then like everyone was just like, now we're binging Witcher.
It was such huge. A good binge. Yeah. His acting was great. I
finished it in 2 days.
I think 3 for me because I paced it. Yeah. The first episode. Yeah.
What, one more day?
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Are you jealous?
No, I finished it in 2. It was phenomenal.
Anyway, the first episode I watched twice. I watched one episode myself, and then I wanted Heather to watch the show with me because I didn't want to wait till she left because she was up here for a week. And I was like, all right, you're going to watch it with me. Watch it. I love watching that.
You're going to watch it with me.
That first episode was so good. The fight choreograph in that scene.
Choreography?
What did I say?
Choreograph.
Yeah, I've been talking for an hour. It's fine. That fight choreography. What is it?
Choreography.
Choreography.
The fighting choreography.
The fighting style. The fighting performance.
The dance of fighting.
The stage fighting that he did. I have other words to say the choreography. I know it's choreographed. I just said that for funny.
I know. I got the joke.
Thank you. Was so well done in this. It sold me on the show. Like, how great he was. And doing that fight scene with that random chick, the sword behind the back. Yeah. And then in the first episode, you're like, all right, there's one wizard in all the world. Like, I didn't think there was any other wizards. I'm like, oh, it's this weird guy. We're going to see him again.
The guy who's walking around with the topless hot chicks?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, we want to kill these people. And then we see the world expand and see all these witches. And the witches are making fun of him. Like, oh, you think this happened? I'm like, it's great. Like, the world building was done beautifully in the show. Yeah. I love seeing him fight the monsters, and he wasn't killing them with ease. No. I love they did the black guy thing from the video games. I haven't played the video games, but I know when he takes potions, he gets stronger.
Yes.
So he does that. He fights all these things.
You see him taking it, when he's like, all right, I have to fight this. Knocks back a shot of potion. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, juiced up for it.
For me, this is what I thought Game of Thrones was going to be. I thought Game of Thrones, we're going to get a lot of fight scenes. We're going to get a lot of mythical animals, magic, and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't at all. Well, I think this is completely different.
No, that's what I thought when I watched Game of Thrones. That's what I thought Game of Thrones was going to be.
Gotcha.
So I thought Game of Thrones was going to be all this. I was like, oh, I'm ready for it. And I got this political drama, which was fine for me. I'm not in love with it. I know you are.
I love Game of Thrones.
I was like, oh, this is good. This is fine.
I actually like talking in
but it's not what I wanted. And now I'm watching Witcher. I was like, this is what I always wanted. Oh my God, this is fantastic. And then after every episode, my brother's like, you have no idea what's happening. This is the prequel of a prequel. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, get ready. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so like that shocked me too. So again, like I know I'm usually like the correspondent of expertise on like deep cut knowledge stuff where I'm like listing things like we just did with Mandalorian.
He Googled it.
No, I reread the timeline, but I've watched all of it.
He knows it.
But Witcher is actually one of those properties I knew almost nothing about.
I love going into
it. I never played the games. I never read the books. So I went to a buddy of mine, Dave. Shout out to Dave. Thanks,
Hi, Dave.
Dave,
you better leave a friggin' comment on all of our friggin' videos on YouTube. Dave, if I don't see a comment from you, I'm going to make sure he texts you and be very upset.
You're going to force me to text my own friend?
Yeah.
Good luck with that. So,
well, if he does a comment, if he comments, we don't have to
Dave
worry.
Dave always watches. Dave's a loyal watcher.
But comments are important too, Dave.
Dave.
So Dave, what did you tell him, Dave?
So yeah, no, Dave gave me a bunch of information. He's a huge Witcher fan. He's played the games. He's read the books.
Oh wow! Okay.
So he has like the legit knowledge that like I usually have on like Star Wars and comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw him a couple days ago, and I was just like, hey, I have a couple questions on what this show is going through. So 100%, this is kind of like the prequel to the prequel.
Yeah, I
like the very first part of like the book series, and now we're gonna get into like this isn't even like the anything of what's gonna happen.
I just don't. I don't even know what to expect.
Which number one, I think solidifies that one, which is awesome. We're gonna get this show for a while.
Yeah.
Which is smart for Netflix because they need properties like this.
Yeah.
After they lost 1 million subscribers to Disney Plus.
Oh my God! This just solidified. Netflix is like they're sitting on the back burner. Like we know we have Henry Cavill. Got this. Yeah, we'll lose everybody. Boom! The Witcher. You're back to me.
Well, it's really smart. And two, we get to see Henry Cavill like this all the time now.
Oh, it's great. I rather him in this than Superman. I know you say the opposite.
Well, I'd rather a good Superman with him in it.
Yeah, I don't care. I like him better as this now.
I know you're just saying that to make me upset, but you're not, because you're not that smart. But so you're low hanging fruit jokes, but
they still taste delicious.
Hey, to each his own. But I think with this show and some of the knowledge again that Dave kind of like dropped on me was, kind of like the type of certain characters.
Okay.
In this, so.
Without spoiling anything.
Because I told him not to spoil me too, because I was like, I want to kind of just watch it.
I told my brother, I was like, don't spoil anything.
Has your brother read the books or played the games?
He's played all the games.
Played the games?
Well, I know 3. I'm assuming the other ones.
3 is apparently like the best one.
Yes.
It won Game of the Year a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was in love with it.
Yeah.
He wanted me to play it. I'm like, nah. And now he's like, I bet you wish you played it. I was like, yeah.
So the aspect of Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah.
And his like ascension with powers and strength, as well as character development, his connection to Yennefer is going to be way more explored. We see it a little bit in the show where his connection with Yennefer, right? The question I think we all revolve around this season is, what was his last wish with the Djinn? And we see that in the episode where he's like kind of fishing with a net for this genie lamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, there's genies now.
I was like, all right, I'm with it.
Like, let's do this. So he makes the 2 wishes, and the bard kind of comes in and screws it up, and he gets like that throat thing, and they have to like go help him
because he tried to make a wish. What was it? His wish?
Exactly. So we find out like, oh, it's actually like Geralt actually has been controlling it. Like he opens his shirt and he has the 2 wish cuts on him.
What were the wishes he made? I don't even know.
To get a good night's sleep.
Okay, yeah.
Which ended up him just banging Yennefer for that.
Good.
Because he falls asleep and she's like, oh, I guess I'll leave now.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I don't know what the second one was.
I know the third one was like he wishes to always be with Yen or something like that.
Well, that's the question. We don't know. Because she tries to take the power. Obviously, we see in the show, she tries to take the Djinn's power because she wants
to have a kid.
She wants to have a kid, and that was taken away from her when they changed her. And,
take her. How gnarly was that scene? They cut out some stuff.
Well, you saw they cut out her like literal uterus.
Is that what it was? I don't even know.
Threw it in a
I thought it was a baby. I was like, what is that? It looks so weird.
That was her uterus.
That's what I thought. That was my educated guess.
I was like, Whoa!
I don't want to confirm it. I don't want to look at anybody.
And like the bones cracking. And,
oh my God.
But that was also a great scene because you had like, it was a contrast of like the party going on upstairs.
Yes.
And the horror story going on in the basement of like this, like, oh, look how everything's nice in this like witch home.
And then in parallel, like you saw her getting cut up, and then you saw the Witcher fighting that evil demon.
Yes.
So you were led to believe maybe that's her or stuff like that. Like it was a false.
It was great. And so with her connection to him, we know somewhat, right? Like we know they've talked about it. They're like, hey, like, what was your third wish? And he kind of just like alludes to it because he also wants to feel something, right? Like he's this Witcher. He was created into a Witcher.
They don't feel emotions the same way we do.
The same way, yes. And he's trying to kind of figure out his place, whether that's like, hey, I want a family, or I want someone I could love, or I don't want to be kind of like this recluse entire existence because I'm on this world for so long. And she is too, so this makes sense. And he kind of like falls for her when he meets her. In the orgy party where she's just like,
oh my god, how great was that orgy party?
How great? I don't know. You couldn't really see much. It was just kind of, if you look in the background, it's just like people dancing.
Really?
Yeah, it's not much orgy going on. Like it's just like, hey,
like, wait.
I'm like, why are you rubbing his shoulders? Everyone's naked. You should be doing other stuff.
I do gotta say, how cool was that scene with the golden dragon?
That was awesome.
And he was like, "Oh, there's golden dragons." He's like, "I've never seen one." And he's like, "Well, they're even rarer than black dragons. Let me tell you."
I loved how the guy died who was with Yennefer, who no one liked. The knight.
Oh yeah,
where he died taking his shit.
That was great.
I was like, good
for him. Man, such a good show.
You're like, I've forgotten things to say already.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yes, okay.
Oh, go ahead.
So with the golden dragon, you know, after we see that whole arc,
such a good show. Anyway, next up.
Hold on. All right, wait, I'm not done. You know, he kind of talks to both of them, and he's like, "Well, you both want." You're not going to get because you both want it so bad or something to that effect. And like you're not going to spend the time with Yennefer. You're never going to have a kid. Mm-hmm. You both need to give up on these things now. And they're like, yeah, he already lost me. I was like, you know what, you sassy little girl? You stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it. I think she becomes the villain.
I think so in a part of it. That's what I'm seeing trajectory-wise.
I think she I loved does her, the 180.
I loved her contrast with the other witches.
Yeah,
where like she was like, even though like
she's like the rebel witch.
Well, yeah, but like think of it like the character development. Like she came from this family who didn't want her because she was naturally disabled, and you know
they sold her for less than what they would sell a pig.
Yeah, and they made her live in a barn.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't let her do anything because they didn't want her to see the light of day. And her father sells her
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes, and they sell her for like 4 pence or whatever to this witch and brings her to the guild, and she goes from being like this no one who barely has ever had a friend to like, this is my view and trajectory, and I don't care what I look like or what I do, you can't fuck with that.
Yeah.
And she
but then she makes herself look pretty anyway.
Well, that's also to get like help to get what she wants, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think her looking beautiful is part of like, oh, I just want to look like this.
No, I think to get what she wants.
I thought it was like, hey, like this is a part of me becoming my best self in the form of like being this witch where like no one can say no to me. It makes my life that much easier. But like also, like yeah, you get to be that gorgeous through the sacrifice that she made, right? And that's you see that when she's trying to hold the Djinn and all the pain she's going through. And it's like, no, it's always a sacrifice. There's always pain and hardship and just awful things that you have to go through. You have to hit rock bottom to get back to the top.
Now, let me ask you...
Which was a crazy parallel.
A question. You know, the end arc, if you will, the ending of the movie... No, sorry, the series. We see, though, the one army led by the one witch who was like Yennefer's classmate.
Where Yennefer originally was supposed to like be that witch.
Correct.
And go serve that king.
They're taking over the whole empires. Yes. You know, we saw them with that little girl who could scream. I guess she's a banshee. I don't know what she is.
Yeah, she's Banshee from X-Men.
Yeah, and like she's running away, and apparently that Banshee and Geralt, you know, they're owed like the law of surprise to each other.
Law of surprise is another thing, yes.
When I was like, okay,
which I had no idea what that meant. That was another Dave explanation.
Yeah, and
I like to call it.
Even when my brother explained it to me, I still don't get it.
Well, the way I perceived it was basically it's an unbreakable promise.
Yeah.
To me, I related it to Harry Potter, where it's the unbreakable vow.
Yes.
Where they shake hands and do the magic ritual, and if someone breaks the vow, they die.
But they can't die. It's just the fate is going to just destroy the world around them.
Exactly.
Until they
it's like, almost like the ultimate karma.
Yeah.
So the law of surprise guaranteed that the princess was Geralt's daughter.
Yes.
And that's why she's like searching for him. And when her grandmother dies, like that was kind of her breaking the law of surprise. Like, that's what you get for breaking the law of surprise.
You didn't let her go with him.
Yes.
He wanted to take her to save him.
Exactly. And that's also another thing. I was like, oh my God, the timeline kind of like you see the flashback. So the fact that her grandmother broke that, gets killed during the war, and she's like, find Geralt of Rivia. That is her fulfilling finally the law of surprise. So and like the promise that Geralt came before and was like, all right.
What's going to happen with the kid?
Well, they found each other.
Yeah, so? Is she going to be a warrior with him?
I think so. Like, she has powers.
Maybe. That'd be cool.
Like, she clearly has powers. She's clearly a descendant. We see kind of like the flashback of her quote-unquote mother and father.
Yes.
Where we see her mother as that power where it's like they get married and they're swirling and it breaks his curse where he doesn't look like an anteater anymore.
Like he was like Narnia, a porcupine.
Like a porcupine, looked like some kind of Narnia creature.
Yeah, he did.
And they break it and kind of like, it's kind of like the opposite of like breaking the Disney like female spell.
It's Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
It's literally, they just took Beauty and the Beast. They kiss. Oh! I was like, I've seen this before. I know what happens.
I've cried to this before.
Maybe.
Definitely.
I have. It's my favorite movie.
Of all time?
Favorite Disney movie? Favorite all time? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's a very good movie. But with this, like, so now I want to see the next steps. You know, they're coming in. Yennefer's really hurt. Yes. All the other witches are pretty much taken out.
But Yennefer unleashed literal hell. That was awesome.
Yeah,
the fire like that she just unleashed.
I think now she turns darker.
I also love that last war scene with all the witches.
It's good.
Where you got to see each of them like play to their strengths. Yes. Like her friend, the light skinned black girl who was gorgeous, doing like growing like the plants. And like kind of making a wall of vines so they couldn't come in.
The earth manipulation.
The magic arrows.
That was cool.
Like in Yennefer's kind of like the general on top, like taking the witch army and like putting them.
How good was that guy? He kept like pulling out swords.
Oh, that was so cool, man.
And I was like, how do you keep running out if they're just magic swords? Why not just magically grab one?
Yeah, I'm like, force like pull that shit like.
What are we doing?
Like Mace Windu in episode 2. Like, but that was really cool to see. The mages kind of coming in and messing stuff up. I like the Council of Witches and
that was good.
Like how they're like kind of like the basis of government between all the kingdoms. Like they're kind of like the UN, right? They come in and they're like, hey, my king is into this, mine's into this. Like we have to come to.
I think they do this without knowledge of the kings.
I think so too.
They're like, oh, are we really ruling this? But they don't know that.
Yeah, so it's like the Dick Cheney of the world.
Exactly. They're like, all right, I'm going to send this witch to go work with you. Nah, we want her over here. Mm-hmm. I just can't wait for season 2.
2021. We got a while, unfortunately.
I might rewatch the series.
I might be, before it comes out. Yeah.
I may just like tomorrow.
I loved also Yennefer's where they show like her protecting that one queen and the assassins after them and they keep having to jump.
That was great.
Worlds. That was really cool.
Great scene with the magic. The very clever use of magic in this world. I feel like we haven't talked about the Bard enough. Oh. I felt like the Bard was fantastic.
Amazing.
I'm just so mad that like Geralt like yelled at him and he ran away after the scene. I was like, come on. Yep. He gave you a theme song.
Theme song's amazing. That song's everywhere.
It's on Beat Saber.
I have it on. It's on Beat Saber. I have it on Spotify.
It's they had the metal covers for it.
The metal covers for it are awesome.
Toss a coin to
it's amazing.
Witcher. I love it.
Also, can we talk about like? I don't know how Henry Cavill does that voice. And I'm not 100% sure it's manipulated through tech.
I think he just does like this, and he drinks a lot of lozenges.
It's so insanely deep.
Oh, Yennefer.
And also, like...
Oh, Yennefer.
So, like, the scene where he's, like, Yennefer's like, you need to take a bath because you smell like your horse's ass.
Oh, my God, that was funny.
Also love Roach, the horse.
Oh, I love how he talks to the horse.
And he talks to his horse.
He's like, you talk to the horse? Yes.
Amazing.
I talk to my horse.
Yes, I talk to my horse. I love how they talk about like how he's a Witcher and he doesn't really speak much. Mm-hmm. And he himself is like, I've talked more to you in this amount of time than I usually talk in a month.
Yeah.
When it's like this connection with Yennefer that he seems to not fully understand. So I really want to know what that witch is.
What I think is I think the witch is like for her to always be in his life. But I think what's going to end up happening is that yeah, she's always going to be in your life, but not in the way he intended.
Interesting.
So not like, oh, friends or lovers.
Almost like a Shakespearean tragedy.
More like Superman and Lex Luthor are always in each other's lives. I think she's going to turn evil. They're always going to be fighting with each other. And one way or another, they're going to be connected because like, oh, I'm sending an army. I'm killing you, but I'm still...
I like how he's like, you'd be a terrible mother.
Oh, right. How
that was great. No, that was smart, man. Like, she's a fucking witch and killing people, manipulating people. That's a terrible role model.
I think she could do it.
That's a terrible role model.
You don't think witches could be mothers?
I think some can. I don't think all. I mean, like, she considered her teacher who she like had this like push-pull with her entire life. And turning all her friends into eels, being a part of like the magic pool.
Oh, that was crazy.
And you know, kind of like going against her and being like, no, I get to make my own choices. Like, I'm not saying what you did for me wasn't amazing, but I'm saying I don't owe you for anything now. I'm saying I've more than repaid my debt for what you put me through.
Fair enough.
You know, so like I think all that was, you know, really cool. The way like at the end it's kind of like you see that motherly figure in her and like, you know, you were the best of us kind of. I kind of wanted a little more of that, like how she became the best of them and like a little more on her training and a little more of like, because we see her kind of not being good enough every time compared to the other girls.
Yeah.
And then jumps to the eels. I wanted to see more of like Yennefer's trajectory into like, oh my god, she's really getting the hang of this. Oh my god, she's better.
They might do flashbacks because it might be different. It might be different powers.
And like the other girls are like this like freak show is better than us. How?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's a showcase of a different power and magic we haven't seen to save it for next season. So she remembers when she first used it and like, oh, how do I make this even bigger?
And I'd like to see the headmistress too, kind of like almost like even though Yennefer hates her for things, like protecting her from things that Yennefer doesn't know about. I think would be a really cool like additive to their story. And she kind of like saves her at the end too.
She does.
So that was awesome. But yeah, anything else for Witcher for you?
Nope. I loved it.
I absolutely loved it.
Can't wait for next season.
I wouldn't give it a 10. I mean, for me, it'd probably be like an 8.5.
Okay.
I really liked it. But I don't know if it was like, again, like with this year with all the TV and so much that came out. Like it was phenomenal. It wasn't the best thing I've seen.
Well, luckily for you and for all of you,
I set you up so well.
We are going to do our top 5 New Year's of 2019 movies, TV, comics. This is probably going to come after it.
Yes.
So if you haven't already watched that, after this, you know what you're going to do. You got to go see our list to see what we think are the top 5 best movies, comics, and TV shows.
And video games.
Of 2019.
2019 review and what we're looking forward to in 2020.
Exactly. And that,
who doesn't like lists?
I love lists.
Love lists.
That wraps up this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're listening to this on your local podcasting app, thank you so much. It really helps us. Make sure you give us a like and review on your favorite app. If you are watching this, guys, make sure you go down in the comments, drop all the comments that you can.
Yes.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button.
It's like a text. It takes a millisecond.
A millisecond.
Yes.
As always, I'm Rob Moran.
And I'm Chris Heller.
And we'll see you next time.
JerseyComicKrew.podbean.com. Don't forget to toss a coin to your Witcher.
I want a coin.